Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome to another legendary James Bond deck building game, 007. This is the first expansion. It doesn't have any fancy name. The expansion, they possibly weren't thinking they were going to do more than this. This adds 2 brand new movies to the game, plus our last 2 Bonds, at least as of the current set. They might bring out someone new after Daniel Craig, not for sure. Which is the always searchable legendary 007 is back. This expansion lets fans relive their favorite moments with new characters and missions from the 2 classic movies. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which has George Lazenby in his only movie, and License to Kill with Timothy Dalton. Battle the bad intentions of the famous masterminds of the diabolic Ernest Starbo Blofeld and the ruthless Franz Sanchez. We know that thwart Blofeld's Angels of Death can destroy the power and influence of Sancho's illicit empire, recruit James Bond, the ultimate problem eliminator, and the foil of the faces of evil once and for all. So, much like the base game, which if you haven't checked out, I will have a link in the description, which goes over 4 other movies and 4 other Bonds. Each set will have their own 5, they're basically 2 mini expansions, 2 expansions mixed into 1 box here. So each movie will have a set of 5 characters you can play as. One is Bond. Usually then you have some mixture of like a named ally of some sort, and then the other ones are usually a combination of equipment, vehicles, or just allies. There's a group of Bond's allies. And then we get a brand new set of signature cards for each Bond, so that way if you're playing this Bond, you either have 5 cards just for them to select as, or if you're playing a multiplayer game, you can have each person take 1 from that set, which kind of generally work well with the cards in the game, as well as the against the actual villain deck. And then we have the villain deck with the nice setup for the plot and everything. We have some other new little surprises in here as well. This is going to be a 2-parter video. So the first part will go over on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and then the second one will go License to Kill, just because there's so many cards. I don't want to try and cram it into too long of a video. But we're going to look at the, kind of look over the rules here and see what new stuff we have first, before we hop in there. So here's going to give for on Her Majesty's Secret Service and License to Kill, the recommended starting thing. Use a mastermind with their villain group, their specific Steam, and its mission group, and the Institute Guard henchmen. Again, there's always an alternate Steam that works well with that character. And then you are free to mix and match these with each other or with any other set. Now, just also to note right after that, again, this is an expansion. It does require you to own the base game. Although you do get special cards for each Bond, you do not get the basic starting cards. You do not get all the gadget cards, the wound cards, the Steam twist, the plot twist, all that. So you have to have the base game to play this. So just note that. Alright, so we have a couple of new things. We have some new special gadgets, which are really fun. They started doing this in Marvel for a while. Started making special bystanders, which are characters that actually have special abilities on them, instead of just being blank ones, which are really fun. Then we have some new keywords. So, in Her Majesty's Secret Service, I know why that's such a pain for me. Bond their characters pretend to be someone else. In-game, the impersonate keyword lets it copy a hero's printed recruit or attack of another hero in your player. When you play a hero with impersonate, it won't immediately grant you any stars. However, anytime in your turn, you may activate the impersonate ability. I love these. I love these abilities you can activate. When you do, choose another hero in play and gain that hero's printed recruit. Same thing if you're using one with attack. Some might copy multiple. Some might even here, for example, might have attack. You can choose to gain another hero's attack twice or gain 2 different heroes. Usually you choose the biggest one, but card's effect may lead you to impersonate 2 different cards for some reason, which we'll see when we get in there. To play more than one hero with impersonate, they can both copy the same hero your player. So it's a really fun little ability, because it'll let you kind of like, you know, I had a weaker hand, but maybe I have a draw card. It might help you get something better. We have Rogue Agent, so the big keyword in here is License to Kill, is Bond becomes a Rogue Agent in order to hunt down Franz Sanchez. In the game, Rogue Agent offers you a powerful ability that's attack. Anytime during your turn, you may activate Rogue Agent. When you player, you may only act this ability if you had not yet put any 007 or 00 Agent basic starter heroes on your turn, and once you activate Rogue Agent, you are not allowed to play any of them anymore. So early in the game, this can be really hard to use that ability because your hand's going to be full of them. Then later in the game, it might not be so bad because you could probably negate it, like, I only got 1 or 2, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, multiple heroes with Rogue Agent, so you'll either be able to activate all of them or none of them. But you do not have to activate all of them. If you had 3, you could choose to activate 2 of them. So not try. But you are allowed to play the Miss Moneypenny ally and special starter heroes the same turns. It's just not the basic starter cards your hand comes with. In the villain side, we have Brainwash. Special action, it temporarily turns a hero into a villain. Place a Brainwash hero into the rightmost on assignment space and push any villain or mission near as normal. The Brainwash hero now also counts as a villain. This means it escapes will be just like any other villain escaping. And then you rescue the Brainwash hero by paying its cost equal to its recruit equal to its cost. If you do, gain the hero stops from being a villain. If you rescue a Brainwash hero, you can't take the heal wound action from this turn. It's considered purchasing, basically. We have Angels of Death. Our young woman, the Blofeld, is mentally conditioned to release an Omega virus on his command. In the game, Angels are special heroes that only be used with the conditions of Angel of Death Steam. You can recruit and play Angels normally, but whenever a Steam Twist is played, it will trigger an Angel's Disperse effect. It's in red text. When the virus twist says each angel disperses or virus do the following. From left to right, each angel does on assignment, then the 2 branch triggers disperse virus, and each player starts to act the player going clockwise. Then if a player has any angels in their hand, it does it against that player, and then you check the player's discard pile, check for that player. And these are kind of neat. So, extra little set of cards. They'll come in, we'll check them more when we get into those. But yeah, they're gonna like trigger and hit everybody unless you personally have it. Then they only hit you. So the idea is, hey, they're allies. They might kind of help you, or at least they're gonna be in your deck affecting your stuff. But you're gonna try and remove them before everything else. Create the Omega Bar. Changes how the wounds work. When you gain a wound, instead of putting them in your deck, form a stack of them nearby. If any player has 7 or more wounds, Evil wins. Which is pretty interesting. Or 15 if you're playing solo. Card lets you have KO, you may KO 1 from your hand deck, or KO that many from the wound stack instead. And if you heal, you can only KO 1. Then we have a special set of cards called the Cartel cards for License to Kill. So this is their little gimmick. Able to trace the Sciences Cartel in the game you're playing with, the Mastermind, expand the Drug Empire scheme, or one of their accompanying villain or mission groups. You need the Cartel stack. Shuffle the 30 Cartel cards face down to a single stack, place it face down near the Mastermind. The effect will say put a cartel on something. Draw the top card of the cartel stack and place it face up on top or next to the stack it's supposed to go in. So it might say on a location spot, on an H2 spot, on top of someone's deck, something like that. Well, the card has one or more cartel cards. Player can't interact with it. Heroes can't be gained, KO'd, or moved. Villains and missions can't be fought. Completed or moved, and if the Masterminds need cartel cards, it can't be fought. Player can pay the recruit or attack on the cartel to KO it. Yeah, so then you can kill any more cartels as long as you can. If a card has multiple cartels, you can look at them, but you may only KO the top one. Then when that's done, you can KO the next one. The stack runs out, reshuffle it. If you KO any cards, you can't take a heal because you took an attack action, basically. Or recruit action. Cool. So that is the basis of those. We have a little extra one here. We have Payoff. This hero lets you fight a villain with recruit instead of attack. So it's bribe in Marvel. That is kind of changing. But the additional thing is you did ignore the villain's fight effect. Payoff a villain still counts as fighting it. That's kind of fun. Now we have a bunch of rules and clarifications. I'm not going to get into too much on all of these unless we need to come back and refer to them. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop into our video. Alright, so we're going to start with On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which stars George Lazenby in his only movie. So here we're going to have 7 brand new basic starter cards for him. That way, if you want to play as this particular Bond, you can get your own starter cards. So we have 7 of those. We have 4 of the basic 00 Agent basic starter cards. So again, you can have your own starting hand. So if you pick this up, even though there's enough in the base game to play it, it's also nice because if you pick this up, now you can play a 5-player or potentially a 6-player game if you want to use all. You can have 6 different Bonds. So that's a really neat idea as well. We also get 3 copies of a new Miss Moneypenny, so you can just add these into the deck. Again, they're all different. They just had some for each different movie, but in the end result, they all work the same. This is Laurie Maxwell again. She reprised her role from one of the last series, which is kind of cool. But yeah, cost 3 gives you to recruit. You can just shuffle all these together to add these right to that regular stack. There's no reason to keep these separate. And then we have some new special starters for him. So we have standard field issue. So it says you get +2 attack if you play an equipment hero this turn. So it gives you normally 2, gives you +2. So it's kind of neat. Special upgrades for your car. So you get +2 attack if you play a vehicle. Otherwise you normally have 2. It's kind of a neat idea. So it's giving you bonuses for playing specific type of cards, which using these are going to only work better if you're playing with decks with those cards. Champagne for 2. Gets 2 recruit, but gets you a +2 if you play Tracy Bond this turn. Now, I believe the rules do state that if you're not using Tracy Bond, because she's one of the, like I said, you can get James Bond, one named ally, and then the other groups. This will be replaced by using any other, yeah, it says, if you're not using instead, if you played any hero other than allies, equipment, James Bond, or vehicles, such as Pam Boomere 2 or Pussy Galore. So as long as you're using another hero in the group that is actually a named hero, that's not Bond, or equipment, or vehicles, or allies, it'll replace that. So yeah, if you mix this in with use this with a different set, it still works, which is nice. We have I keep saying M16, M-High-6. So again, to recruit, +2 if you played an ally hero this turn. Miss Money ally does not count. That would actually be the ally sect. And then if you play Bond, James Bond, you get +2 attack if you play a James Bond hero. So each one of these 5 cards will correspond to one of the 5 cards in this set. Now, also keep in mind, though, that not every set has an equipment or a vehicle or necessarily allies. Always has a James Bond, always has one signature ally or named ally, but it doesn't always have the other 3. So that's kind of a neat little twist on how he gets to play. Cool. So let's go ahead and jump into his cards. Let's get James Bond. So we have 5 copies of a covert. Sir Hilary Bray, who gives you the impersonate ability with recruit. So he starts with 1, but he gains regular recruit. So right off the bat, he's going to be possibly at least worth one of your starter cards with worth 1. So 1 for 1 is not bad. But as the game goes on, you can buy an ally, like a Miss Moneypenny, and make him worth 2. Or you buy something bigger. You can also cop one of your special starters, which would be kind of neat. Could potentially be 2 or 4 extra. 1 cost cards are always fun. 5 copies of To the Rescue, his ranged. So 4 cost for 2 attack. If you play another range, you get an additional 2. So this kind of seems like a theme with him. Playing one thing to gain a bonus from another thing. Whether it's his starter cards, this card, he has this, his impersonate abilities work that way too. We have 3 copies of Live Up to Your High Standards. Another covert has 2 attack and 2 recruit. And when you impersonate this hero for the first time, each turn you draw a card. So this is where the rules did mention where you might impersonate someone with less stuff. So you could have out, for example, you could have played this, right, and had 4 attack, because you played this James Bond already, and you might want to get the 4 attack as an impersonate, but it might make sense to you to maybe impersonate him, only getting 2 attack, but drawing that card, and that card you draw could potentially give you more than 2 extra attack. So it's kind of a neat little effect there. And then his ultimate is Operation Bedlam. So it costs 8, does 7 attack, which is very good. And it says attack this hero can't be used to fight the mastermind unless the villain deck is empty. So that it's kind of a big downside, but it's not game breaking. Because you can have plenty of other cards you can do it. He just can't fight the villain or the mastermind, but you can take out all the other villains. Otherwise, you have to wait until basically the end of the thing, until the inevitable comes up, and then you can take him out. So by the course of the game, I'd say probably the second or third time you draw this, that's probably not going to be maybe an issue. So that's still pretty good. But yeah, 7 for 8. That's a neat, unique ability. I don't think I've seen one like that before. Alright, up next we have Tracy Bond, who I believe is his wife in this movie, of course. She has a gun on him. Suppose I were to kill you. I think they have the rest of the quote on the back. Yeah. So there's the rest of the quote there. Suppose I were to kill you for a thrill, Bond. I can think of something more sociable to do. You know, that's pretty funny. So she's an instant character for a cost of 2 with impersonate. But she impersonates attack. Now you can see that comparing her to that Hillary guy we started with is hers costs 1 more, but it's attack. So you can see how attack's a little bit more, seems a little bit more important than recruiting. I have 4 copies of Something Eats at Her Soul. Strength card. 4 costs for to recruit, a little bit high, but reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a hero or wound, you may KO it. This will let you definitely get rid of those basic starter cards. Also gonna let you get rid of the Angels of Death if we draw them, because they are considered heroes. And wounds, with all the special wounds, and there's some good ones in some of these sets as well. That's a very good card. 3 copies of All the Time in the World. 6 cost per 3 recruit, which in itself seems really bad, but it has an asterisk by that 6. It says, while this is in the Q branch, you may recruit it for 3 less if you gained a James Bond hero this turn. So that's definitely not bad. A cheaper way to get a recruit card. I hope they get it for more cards than just hers, but I think it's going to be hers theming-wise. And then her ultimate is Contessa Teresa di Vincenzo. So I'm guessing that is her full name, before she's got shortened down from Teresa to Tracy. 7 cost for 3 attack, which seems really low. But it says, this turn you may spend any amount of attack as recruit instead. So, if you're using her as a great recruiter, this could actually be very good, because it's not just this card's attack, it's all attack and recruit. So for her trying to be an attacker, not a very good card, but at least it gives you the option. But changing all your recruit there, you can help her to get some other things. So basically, it's just be the ally to Bond, let you buy stuff. I'd put it probably a bit of a middle of a card, because it's, if she doesn't get a lot of attack cards, then this card's basically not that good for the amount you paid for it. But if she has a ton of attack built up, it could be pretty good. Also, it'd be kind of funny to get her, this one and this at the same time, because then you'd have 10 recruit. You know, that's kind of neat. You buy a bunch of extra cards, but hopefully by the time you're getting the ultimate card, you're getting to the point where you pretty much either are to the end game and you're running out of villains to fight, so you can't spend a lot of time recruiting, or you're just kind of done with that. Alright, let's see what else we have. We have our third set of characters. We have the allies. We're going to start with 4 copies of M, who is a covert character, 4 for 2. Pay another covert, or play a covert first. If your special starters in your deck or discard pile, put it in your hand. Otherwise, draw a card. Ooh, that is fun. So as long as it's not in your hand, you get your special starter. Otherwise, you get a free card. If it was just draw a card, I'd be like, meh. But the fact that your special starter is going to be very good. Especially with one like this characters, because you have to have a specific card, so you can plan it a little bit better. That's pretty cool. We have 4 copies of Marc-Andre Draco, who's a strength, who has 3 for 3. Gain a wound. If you play another strength, ignore the text above. That's not bad at all. very reminds me of very Hulk reminiscent. And then we have 3 copies of Draco's Assault Team. Pay 5 for impersonate to recruit. Hey, recruiting allies. That's pretty cool. And then his ultimate is Miss Moneypenny. So that's kind of neat. We actually get her as an ultimate card. Cost 7 for 3 and 3, so basically 6, which is not too bad at all. Each time you play a James Bond hero this turn, draw a card. Each time you play a Tracy Bond hero this turn, you may KO a hero in your hand or discard pile. I don't think they specified her in there. No, so they did not specify her working that way. So I wonder if I would almost play her the same way you play the Tracy Bond, same way you saw that Champagne for 2. You could swap her out for a different card. But again, you can play very thematically with that. You take a hero in your hand or discard pile. It's pretty cool. Each time you play a James Bond, draw a card. Yeah, if you ignored the bottom part, which is just each time you play a James Bond, you draw a card. That's not even too bad, because you're probably going to be drawing a lot of James Bond cards. Yeah, definitely not a bad thing. I like it. Plus, the dual thing gives you more options for impersonate, which works really well with this set. Alright, up next we have our equipment. We have 5 copies of I think this is our first tech card, the Electromagnetic Safecracker. 4 for 2 recruit. After playing a tech, choose one. Draw a card now or draw an extra card when you draw a new hand at the end of this turn. Cool. Choices are always fun. So yeah, do you need that extra card? Maybe you can boost on 1 recruit point away or 2 attack away. Maybe I can get something. Now I have a bad hand or I have everything I need. Draw an extra card, start you up better on the next turn. That's pretty fun. We have 5 copies of Snow Skis. Instinct equipment for 3 for 2, which is pretty typical. Paying instinct, you may move a villain or mission on assignment to any space. If there are a villain or mission there, swap them. Nice. Getting to move characters around can be very useful. Because you could put someone with like a non-escape effect maybe towards the front, so you don't have to worry about them. You could move. There are villains that will mess with the Q branch depending on where they are, so you can move them around, so that could be helpful as well. Or occasionally there might be cards that give you, nope, not in this set. Marvel does that more, where they had things where they had someone at a certain location. This doesn't have that, so it doesn't play as much there. We have 3 copies of Glove Box Rifle. Tech card, 5 cost for 4 attack. You must discard 2 cards from your hand to play this hero. Ooh. Not as sure about that one. Because there hasn't been too many things that have a reason to discard. But yeah, it's 5 cost for 4 attack. I mean, 4 attack is nice, but 5 cost, maybe like 6 or at least 5. I wouldn't mind it as much. So I mean, imagine if it was like, if you're playing like if they had like 3 and you had to discard, what do you have, 2 starters? Maybe discard 2 recruit cards, but yeah, interesting though. And then we have Wedding Ring as the ultimate card. 7 cost for 4 recruit, which again seems a little low, but what's the effect does. Once this turn, when you recruit a hero, you may gain a second hero from the Q branch of the same cost or lower. Nice. That is not bad, right? Spend 4 at bare minimum, right? You buy a 4, now you can get a 4 or a 3, 2, or 1 for free. If you get a 3, that's 7. You paid 7 to get 2 7 costs, 7 points worth of cards. But if you have other points, let's say you buy a 6, now you can get a 6 and a 5, now you just bought 11 points. So definitely has its good value for that. Our last hero group is the vehicles. We know James Bond always has some fun vehicles, like the bobsled. Everyone's most memorable vehicle. Another tech card, 3 for 2 attack. You get +1 attack that can only be used against the leftmost villain or mission on assignment. Interesting. Yeah, not bad. Just an extra bonus for a specific situation. We just talked about moving guys around. There we go. You move a guy to that side because you know you get an extra 1 point of attack against him. We have 5 copies of the Cable Car Lift, which is a ranged card. 3 for 2 recruit. Look at the bottom card of your deck, put it on the top of your deck, or discard it. Ooh, that's fun. And we had the other Tracy Bond card, so the top card of your deck, but it's a hero, you may KO it. This could work well with that if you want to get rid of a certain card. Possibly. Nice, that's not too bad at all. Alright, we have the Mercy Flight Helicopter. We have 3 copies of those. 6 cost for Impersonate 2 attack. Which is not bad. It could really be anywhere. It could be 2 4s, it could be 2 5s, you know, or it could end up being 2 1s. I think it's 4 the highest we've had in this set. A 3. Other than James Bond 7 on his ultimate, we have a lot of 2s and 3s. But also remember though, it's their printed cost. So if we use like our special starter that gives you 2 and then plus 2 if you play a special card, specific card, it doesn't give you 4. It only gives you 2 for each. And our last one is Ice Track Getaway. So yeah, we have the 8 cost that has Impersonate, double recruit, double attack. So very, very cool. Again, it could be a very good card, could be a very bad, just depends on what's out there. Yeah, so definitely a neat idea though. And again, you can do 2 and 2, or you could do 4 separate cards. I wish we had more cards like that James Bond that said, if you impersonate this, do that. I wish we had like 1 or 2 more that did that, but I can see why they didn't want to overload it too much, because then it kind of forces you to have to play all this set together. But that could have been kind of neat. Alright, before we jump into the villain, we're going to look at our gadgets. We have 3 brand new gadgets, or 3 copies of makeshift keys. So these just shoveled into the gadget deck. Now when you draw them from getting a gadget, or if you defeat a villain that has one, now you gain this special ability. So when you acquire this gadget, draw a card. Nothing super spectacular, but it makes you more wanting to get those. Then the other 3 we have are plastic explosives. When you acquire this gadget, you may KO a hero in your hand or discard pile. And this is also kind of neat because if it's on a villain, it might entice which villain you're going to go after, which one you might ignore. Because you might be like, oh, I don't have anyone I want to get rid of this turn, but maybe next turn, so you might ignore a cheaper villain just for the fact of that. And then the last thing we have in here is we have 6 new wound cards. These work the same as all the other wound cards. You just got a different picture on them. Just with a different bond in there. But just to give you some additional cards in case you're playing with that extra player. So if you make it into a 5-player game, you have some more wound cards for them. Cool. That was all of our heroes. Let's look at our mastermind. We're going to start with Ernest Starvo Blofeld. Always leads on Her Majesty's Secret Service villain group, Master Strike Brainwash, the highest cost hero in the Q branch IQ. Ooh, that could be bad when the ultimate gets out. Escape. When the villain escapes, starting with you and going clockwise, each player gains a wound until one has been gained for each escaped villain. Ooh, so if a bunch escape, you're going to get hit with a bunch. Nice, and you cost 9 to beat. Alright, so he has, his tactics are Pizza Gloria Base. This is fight, acquire 5 gadgets. Put this next to the mastermind. It can't be fought or defeated with the base. Well, the base is next to it. Players must spend a mug of attack to damage the base each turn. Once it has been taking 15 damage, KO it. This is the last tactic. The mastermind isn't defeated until the base is KO'd. That's a neat little effect. I like that. Yeah, it brings it back to instead of just defeating, oh, I get this effect. It actually makes it a challenge. Now you have to spend time defeating that. That's very cool. Release the Angels of Death. Fight. Brainwash one random hero. Cost with one or more from your discard pile. If there are no heroes in your brainwash pile, in your discard pile, brainwash the leftmost hero. Interesting. So again, we're brainwashing. Trigger the avalanche. Destroy the rightmost on assignment space. If there's a card there, move it to one space left. Use it face down. Card from outside of the game to mark your destroyed space. And then I could make you my Countess. Fight. When you draw a new hand at the end of your turn, discard each hero from it with at least one recruit. Trying to get rid of that Tracy Bond card. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Those are all pretty devastating things. And then we have our first scheme. We have Condition of the Angels of Death. I always use Condition of the Angel of Death mission group. Scheme, 5 schemes twist. So this changes it up a little bit. You have 2 and B, 3 and C. Instead of any and 1. It's going to take a while for them to kick off. Shuffle the 10 angel deck extra cards into the hero deck. Each twist, each angel disperses her virus. Danger level 6. So what are these Angels of Death? So we're going to have 10 of them. We're going to have 2 copies for each color. So we have the Covert one, who they all have different costs and different emotes. This is kind of cool. So it has 4 costs and 3. It says this hero can't be KO'd. Ooh, I didn't even notice that. I thought you could get rid of them that way. That's pretty crazy. Disperse bias. Discard each basic starter hero in your hand. At least they're giving you a bonus, right? So if you don't purchase them, you're like, well, we'll just leave them in the HQ. The problem is when they disperse, then they hit everybody. If they're in your hand or in your discard pile, then they only hit you. So the whole thing would be is either A, you have to get them brainwashed and get them to escape to get rid of them, or you just have to deal with it. But you might want, maybe one player might want to take the hit so that everyone doesn't take a hit. But so one person takes too many of them, it's going to be bad. So in Instinct, we have cost of 1. It gives us 2 recruit. Disperse biases, move the last mode on assignment 1 space. In Range, we have a 3 cost per 3 attack. KO a hero in your hand or discard pile at the cost of 2 attack or more. For Strength, we have 5 for 4 attack. Gain 2 wounds. And then finally for Tech, we have 2 recruit per 2 attack. Discard the highest hero cost in your hand. So some of these are a little bit worse than others. None of them are going to like destroy you. But they are going to make the game a little bit more challenging. Then the other scheme we have, which isn't tied to any specific groups, is Create the Omega Virus. 5 scheme twists. Special rule is when a player gains a wound, put it next to them instead of their discard pile. Player that has 7 or more wounds, evil wings. It affects as a KO a wound in the player's hand, deck, or discard pile. KO the one next to that player instead. Once per turn, the active player may take a heal action to KO one of their wounds. Twist. Choose a friendly player to gain a wound equal to the number of twists played in this game. Danger level 7. So anytime you gain a wound, doesn't matter how it is, you're going to get one. When you twist, you have to give it to somebody else. So that's pretty crazy.